And I'm not talking about becoming a philanthropist and giving away 10% of your income. I'm saying, how about giving a little bit of money to somebody when they're on the street? Like you see $1 and you drop a hat, and then there's a whole excuse around that.
Your business's success depends on relationships with customers, relationships with employees, and relationships with stakeholders. What do they all have in common? They're all human. Because no matter if your business is B2B or B2C, it's really H to H, human to human. Welcome to the Human Connection Podcast. I'm your host, Karl Pontau. Each week, I'll bring you stories, insights, and practical advice from experts that you can apply to your growing company and daily life. This week, I'm super excited to meet with Mark E Sackett. Mark has no plans to sit still anytime soon. He owns 13 related creative businesses, lives in San Francisco, and in seat 3E on United Airlines. He thrives on being inventive daily as he works in entertainment, media, branding, advertising, print, packaging, identity, graphic design, interactive, online, and website design, film production, music, concert productions and events, and television. He has been a graphic designer, producer, and director for over 38 years with more than 1,500 awards to his credit. Mark consults with CEOs, venture capitalists, brand owners, and entrepreneurs around the world to grow their brands, investments, companies, and profits. As a director, producer, art director, award-winning graphic designer, and president of the Idea Stone and Reflector, he is widely published and a well-known public speaker. As the founder of Brain Food Creative Programs, he is a thought leader who helps people live more creative lives by teaching them about what he calls left-of-center thinking through his one-on-one and team brain food trainings and seminars worldwide. Brain Food Creative Programs also produces The Art of Active Networking worldwide as a way to help entrepreneurs and business people and individuals make stronger, deeper connections using social media and the power of a genuine giving relationships through his concept of My Give For. Congrats on being one of my favorite people, and welcome to the Human Connection Podcast.
Thank you.
Well, I've been going to Mark's Art of Active Networking events in San Francisco and other locations in the Bay Area for years now, and I am a huge fan of My Give For, and I practice it all the time, and it is such a rewarding way to build better relationships. And so please, I'd love for you to share more about the Art of Active Networking and My Give For.
Yeah. The Art of Active Networking started about 18 years ago. I own this big historic building in San Francisco, and we're an event space. And it really started because I realized that nobody had anything to do on Monday nights. And so I started it on Monday nights. I think I had 10 people at my first one. And anyway, it ultimately grew to about 125 people per event. And then it started expanding. Like I decided, I was traveling so much, working on my film projects and the other things that I do. And I decided, I could probably do this anywhere that I'm at. So I was living part-time in New York. I was living in LA. I was living here in San Francisco. And so I ended up expanding it. And by the time the pandemic started, I was in 17 cities in 5 countries doing it. I did a TED talk about it that kind of blew up. And I realized, obviously when you do something a lot and you meet so many people, I started to realize these sort of common threads and these common themes running through my events. And it didn't matter what language it was in. It didn't matter whether I was in Germany, whether I was in the Netherlands, whether I was in Sydney, Australia, whether I was in Canada, whether I was in Kansas City, where I'm from, or Chicago, or any of the cities, that networking and like the difficulty that people have in networking and making connections was all stemming from the same thing. And it was all from, the first thing that somebody says to you when they walk up to you at a networking event, which is, what do you do for a living? And I suppose that's not an unnatural, I guess it's not an unnatural question to ask when you meet someone, but it's not a very helpful question. And it's a sorting question. I believe it to be like, okay, so Karl, you do what? And I'm like, I don't need that. So thank you. Nice to talk to you. And if they even say thank you. and then they move on to the next conversation. And you know this, you've experienced this. We've talked about it many times. And so, but my first question to people is, what are you struggling with and how can I help? Because the one thing that every single person that will ever hear this podcast has in common, no matter where they're listening from, is that they struggle. We all have struggles. We struggle with business, relationships, health, money, every possible scenario you can think of. We all struggle. And that's the one thing we have in common. So I started thinking, well, why instead of worrying about whether or not I am a software engineer or whether or not I'm a banker or whether or not I'm a real estate agent or whether or not I'm an artist, why don't we just instead talk about what I'm struggling with, and then let's work together using the power of our network and the power of our connections to help each other with that struggle. And it really works, and it really started to resonate with people. And I also, you were at my event 2 nights ago, and you still see how difficult it is for people. The people who've come for many years, they get it. They ask different questions now. They approach people differently now, but they keep thinking, the new people keep thinking it's about, having getting their business card in somebody's hand and trying to sell them something. Okay. And if I try to sell you something, you're not going to remember me past the end of the night. If I try to help you do better with one of your struggles or help you in some way or do something nice for you, you'll remember me forever, right? So I started to really realize that really was a global common theme in what was wrong with networking. And I say all the time, I don't like networking events. I never have liked networking events. So I started my own, because I don't like empty questions. I don't like empty conversations. I don't like sales conversations. I don't like when somebody's selling hard or pushing hard or whatever. And, you also have to think, I'm 67 years old and I kind of have my shit figured out, right? So do you. People who are entrepreneurs and who own businesses, for the most part, even though we still struggle as well, we have our stuff figured out. Like I already have my insurance guy. I already have my doctor. I already have my gym. I already have my this, my that, whatever it is you're selling. So in most cases, I already have that, right? And I already have very good people doing that for me, or I'm partnering with them or collaborating with them or whatever, right? So even if that approach to networking did work, most people already have all that. So, a lot of that falls on empty ears. And so I really started then, as the years went on, started thinking about, okay, well, what is it? We all struggle. And what is it that we can do to really help each other? Okay. And so I developed this thing called My Give For. And My Give For is really something that anybody can do. You can do it on your couch. You can do it on your social media. You can do it when you go out to any event. You can go when you're at a restaurant, whatever. And Karl, you know me, so you know that I talk to everybody. I talk to waiters. See, you laugh because it's true. I talk to waiters at lunch. I talk to valet parking people. I don't look at people as targets. I look at people as opportunities for cool conversations. I don't look at them as, look, who's going to hire? If I'm talking to a waiter or I'm at a party or whatever, what are the chances that somebody's going to hire me to be a graphic designer or an art director or a film producer for their next film or any of their projects, And it's more about, I'd like them to know what I do. And then if they need something, I'm here if I can be of help to them, But, no graphic designer, I don't think, is going to get hired because I'm out there pushing myself at a networking event. That's not how those things happen. Those things happen through strategic conversations of me showing my work, that being a validator, talking to them about their brand and them understanding that I can help their brand grow through what it is that I do, right? And you could take that for any of my businesses and apply it. So,
and then what I love about the difference between the way most people approach networking and My Give For is that it's coming in with that giving mindset, and it's it's increasing the understanding that what people mean by giving doesn't have to be a huge undertaking. It can be something that's small and easy. And like I said, you can do it on your couch or on the phone or on social media. It's little ways of giving that don't take a whole lot of time or effort or money or planning, but the impact it has on the relationships you have or the relationships you're starting or just your overall like emotional state and mindset and mental health are amazing, because you shift from worrying about getting what you need to giving people something good. And when you have that mindset shift, you get what you're looking for way faster and way more than you could have gotten if you're just solely focused on yourself.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, like, so my give for what it is I ask people when I meet them, I mentioned this to you, well, years ago. I mean, would you consider giving 4 hours out of your already busy filled week to helping other people do better? And now people who don't get it are like, huh? I don't have 4 hours to spare. I can't even get my ass to the gym, right? So nobody ever has enough time. None of us ever perceive that we have enough time. But the point is, a lot of this stuff you're already doing in the course of your day. It's just a matter of a perspective and a mind shift, right? So I ask people, give 4 hours a week in 4 specific ways to help other people do better, and make it a practice in your life. Just like you make your yoga a practice, or your eating dinner a practice, or getting good sleep a practice, just make it a practice. So give of your, number one, give of your ideas and your talent freely. All of us have great ideas. All of us have a lot of talent. And I'm just saying, share that with somebody in a conversation if it can be of help to them, freely, not consultatively, not I do this, I'm going to sell it for this much per hour. Just, hey, I've had some experience with that. Perhaps I can help. All right. And people will appreciate that if you come from the right point, right? Number 2, give of your time, volunteer. There are so many nonprofits. There are so many people out there on one knee who could really use help. This has been exponentially worse post-pandemic. And go out and help. Just like show up at a street cleanup, or neighborhood park cleanup, or a beach cleanup. Go volunteer for a nonprofit. Go help out at a soup kitchen, whatever it is. Just give of your valuable time helping out. And you don't even have to have skills to do that. There's all kinds of opportunities to help in your own community if you just make the time to do it. And it could be nothing more than an hour a week. You just go, an hour a week I go and I volunteer and I do this. Or you can volunteer just to put a little group together and go pick up trash in your own neighborhood. I mean, there's so many things that we can do, but we don't make the effort to do it. So give of your ideas and your talent freely. Give of your time, volunteer. This is the next one's tough for people. Give of your money, donate. Now, as soon as I say that, I know that people's buttholes cringe, and I'm sorry, but that's just what happened. Oh, money? I don't have enough money. I can't give my money away. I work too hard for my money. I never make enough money as it is. I mean, we all immediately come up with a litany of excuses. And I'm not talking about becoming a philanthropist and giving away 10% of your income. I'm saying, how about giving a little bit of money to somebody when they're on the street? Like you see $1 and you drop a hat. And then there's a whole excuse around that. Oh, well, that person's probably going to use it for drugs or whatever. It's like, well, you decide when to give it. You decide how to give it. But just that it's not about what you're doing. It's about the act of giving. The act of giving will change your life. Okay. And while it might make you feel good about yourself, but it's going to let that other person on the receiving end kind of get a little bit of belief in humanity, honestly. I mean, and pretty famously that what I do, not always to great success, is I always turn, if I'm at a Starbucks or a coffee shop, I always turn to the person behind me and I just say, what can I get you? And they're like, huh? And like, the people are always stunned when I do it. Now, I think that's sad, because the fact that people are that surprised when I do it means that not enough people are doing it, and it shouldn't be that kind of a surprise for people. It shouldn't be shock and awe. It should be, oh my God, what? But I've literally had people, I was at a Starbucks once and I turned around and said, hey, what can I get you? I'm going to buy you whatever you want today. And the woman looked at me and she's like, no. And she walked out. She just walked away out of the Starbucks. I mean, I wasn't like, I was like almost as if I was assaulting her. And then another woman had a little child with them. And I'm like, hey, buddy, what do you want? What do you want? I'll buy you what you want today. And she's like, no, absolutely not. And I'm like, why not? And she's like, we're perfectly capable of buying our own whatever. And I was like, okay. So I went to the guy behind her and bought him what he wanted, you know, and just passed her over because she wouldn't accept it. And, you know, it's just, I mean, it's fun for me, but it's also, it's a little, I don't know, a little sociological experiment to see like how, if people are able to receive, you know, and you have to recognize that in giving, not everybody's able to receive either. And I also think that that's sad, you know, but because I mean, I'm talking about what, $5-10. I'm not talking about like, you know, opening up my bank book or pulling out a credit card and saying, I'm going to pay your rent, which I would love to do if I had the capacity to do it. But I can afford $5 or $10 and buying somebody a latte and I've had so many other great stories where people are like, why did you do that? Why, that was so nice. Thank you so much. And you know, whatever. And I said, pay it forward, you know, do it for the next person, you know. And there was one guy, I watched one guy in New York City recently, and I was at a Starbucks getting a hot tea. I don't drink coffee, never had a cup of coffee in my life. So I don't know why I even go to Starbucks, but I was getting a hot tea and this guy was sorting change on the little counter to try to see if he had enough. And it was clear that he was probably homeless. And I said, hey man, what are you doing? He's like, I'm just trying to see if I have enough to get what I want. And I said, I got you. I'll get you whatever you want. And he came over afterwards with tears in his eyes. And he's like, why would you do that for me? He goes, you don't know anything about me or who I am. I'm like, why do I need to know about you or who you are? You look like you were struggling. You had maybe enough, maybe not enough. And I thought it would just be a nice gesture. So he sat there with me, telling me a little bit about his story. And that was pretty cool. You know, it's pretty powerful. And so I do it. I do it all the time in a lot of different ways. But that's just an easy way that I do it, you know, so it's just fun and I have fun with it and I get to meet some really cool people. And then, the other thing that I do with my Give For, or with the money part of it, is on my last flight of the year, no matter where I'm going, but usually it was home. Before my parents died, it was always home to Kansas City from San Francisco, probably around Christmas time. And so I would go talk to the captain of United Airlines on my flight and also to the purser and whoever. And I would talk to the gate agents ahead of time to let them know I was going to do it. And then I would buy, and I still do every Christmas, I buy everybody on the plane a drink or a snack box for the kids. And, you know, it'll cost me anywhere between $100 and $200. And it's just my thing. But you should see the energy and the gratitude that people have and the flight attendants. And they're like, this is the coolest thing. Oh my God, this is so sweet. How nice. And like, I'm like, you don't have to tell them it's me. Just do it. And then I'll give you a credit card. But people somehow, maybe they hear me or they see me hand the credit card. I don't know. And I've had little kids draw pictures and give them to me, or just anonymously. I mean, give it to the flight attendant. Give the picture to the flight attendant. The flight attendant brings it up to me. And my favorite one is actually at home in my bedroom, and it's a little airplane on the back of a United Airlines snack box, and it says, Merry Christmas and thank you to the airplane Santa.
That's awesome.
So I'm the airplane Santa, and I love that. And so, but people are just so grateful. And then one time I said, United used to give a certain level of flyer. We all used to get these free drink tickets. And I never used them because I am at that status already, and I get free drinks if I want them. So I would have all these free drink tickets. And so I said, I got like 30 of these free drink tickets I want to use up too. Can I just put these against my tab? And they're like, okay. And then like other flyers around me, I was in first class on that flight, and 3 other guys go, I have those things too. And they gave them to me, and we ended up with like 65 free drink tickets that we used against the tab to give to everybody on the plane. So that was really cool. So, you know, so there's just really the things you can do, but like, think about it. When you think about my Give For, be very conscious with it. You know, when you're giving of your time, or you're giving of your expertise, or you're giving of your money, or whatever it is, be conscious of that act of giving, and watch the gratitude that comes back. And then, of course, the last one is give of your network referrals. You're at networking events, you're out networking, you're trying to build your business, you're trying to do whatever it is. So how do we ultimately do business together? Through know, like, and trust relationships, and nothing else. You could advertise to me all day long, but if I don't know you, we're probably not working together. If I know you and I don't like you, we're definitely not working together. And if I know you and I like you, but I don't trust you, we're not working together. Or maybe I like you and you do something untrustworthy. I'll talk to you about it, but like, don't do it again, or we're not working together. I'm not going to jeopardize my reputation or my own business because you're an untrustworthy person. So, think about showing up with some integrity in your life, So, but know, like, and trust is critical. If you don't have all three of those things in any relationship, you're not going to get anywhere. That's why, I'm one of the 100 most connected people in the world on LinkedIn, and I never get any value out of LinkedIn because everybody out there's recruiters and trying to sell shit, and they just don't understand relationship, And it's great to have social media. It's great to have thousands of connections or whatever. But if you don't reach out to those people and develop personal relationships with them, even if it's online, then it's not going to serve you, unless you're a connections collector, or whatever. And, you have tens of thousands. I'm like, I can say this, but I can say, I know 80% of the people in my network, and I have a couple, 250,000 people in my network. So I could pretty much call up almost anybody and they'll know who I am and they'll take my call. And that's years and years. That's decades of me thinking like this. But most people on LinkedIn, if you can't call them, you can't reach out to them, or any social media for that matter. Right. So
well,
that's what my gift for.
Yeah. And my gift for is the way you can start making this a habit of giving and building the sort of connections and making the task of getting through the normal networking crap way more effective, because you're focusing on giving and not just trying to sell to people. And I absolutely love the effect it's had on my life and my network and my mindset when I go out into the world, of just thinking about what can I do to make someone's day a little bit better. Yeah. And I think if more people had that mindset, then the world will be a much better place. And so thank you so much for being on the show today, Mark. If you enjoyed this episode of the Human Connection podcast, please leave a review and share it. If you'd like to connect with myself or Mark, check out the links in the show notes. And remember, no matter if your business is B2B or B2C, it's really H to H, human to human. Happy connecting.